April with Hair 101. I'm going to show you how to do a really cute haircut today. I haven't really decided what to call this, but it has like heavier bang, everything's kind of forward, and then there's bigger side, like heavy sideburns that are kind of angled forward, and the back's really, really tight. So in order to get that, we're going to start sectioning off the hair, and we're going to section off this mohawk section and then go down to a pretty deep point in the, well, not a deep point in the back, but a point in the back. So just right at the roll of the head, we're going to take that mohawk section, and then in the back, you're just going to take a triangle or a point from both of those original lines from the mohawk. So it should look like this. Now the reason why I do this is because it leaves a little bit more length and a little bit of shape to the back of the hair so that you don't have a flat spot. So we're going to clip that up. So this haircut was actually inspired from one of the viewers that we have. They sent me some pictures and they said, do something like this. So we're doing it. And then in the back from that point, I'm going to go straight down. And then we're going to section off also from that point over to the ear. So we're cutting quite a bit of her hair off. This is going to be a pretty big transformation. And she has naturally curly hair, so we're going to make sure we don't cut it too short. I'm going to leave a little bit extra length. And also, the reason why we're cutting it wet still is because she's going to be flat ironing it. If she was only going to be wearing it curly, I would maybe cut it different, but she will be blow drying and flat ironing this. So mainly we just need to keep in mind if it's curly to leave a little bit more playroom in there for the length. All right, so now we're going to start in the back. Now that we have those three sections parted off in the front, we're going to have you look down. So we're going to have this hair in the back parted down the middle. And if you want, you can clip it out of the way if you can't keep it to the side that you need it on. I'm just going to clip it away just so I can make sure to keep my partings really clean. There we go. All right, and I'm going to start on this left section, and I'm going to take a diagonal section just like this. So it's going like this forward, diagonal forward. And just a little bit. We're going to try to keep the sections nice and small. So this is going to be our first section, and we're going to cut it pretty short. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting it pretty much as short as my fingers, and I'm going to be cutting palm to palm. So right there. And I'm going to take that first little bit. Sorry, my fingers were too far in there. Okay, look down. There we go. All right, we're going to take this first little bit and just cut it. And then we're going to follow the shape of the head. So we're not going to leave a really heavy weight line back here yet. This is just going to be taking off the bulk and the length. So we want it to be pretty soft. And I'm just going to go through all of these sections. And on that first one, okay, look down again, there we go. So we're going to need to take a little bit of the guide from before and comb it into this section that we're working on again. So we're going to lift it up, find the guide, and don't cut past that second knuckle. You're just going to keep moving the hair. Moving your fingers along with the roll of the head. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that I follow the roll of the head here so that it gets that corner taken off. We don't want to build too much weight. There we go. And you should be pulling it straight out from the head. lots of hair off. There we go. Rolling it around. All right, so once you get that section in, we're going to go back through this way and just check to make sure you don't have any really long pieces. And with her hair being curly, if there's anything that's poking out really far too, we can, shoot, drop my pink cone. I'm going to find another one. Oh, and now we're doing a black cone. Okay, so this is our last section. And we're going to pull that straight out. All right, so that section's done. And you can see it does have a little bit of a weight line here, and that's okay. We want it to have that. So now we're going to do the same sectioning this way. We're going to go back to this back right section, and we're going to take a section from right about there and just go forward, angle it forward. And we're going to pick up a little bit of this one, a little bit of the side over here to get the length. So on this side, it's a little bit different because we're cutting from this way, from the right to the left instead of from the middle to the outside. So we want to make sure that we follow the roll of the head. So at first, I'm just going to pull up this little section here and cut that. And then I'm going to just move across over this way and make sure that I'm moving where I'm cutting. So I'm standing a little bit different. I'm moving around to make sure that I don't leave too much of a corner and a point right here because we want it to be pretty tight. And then right here she has a little bit of a growth pattern that comes down into a point. So I'm just going to lift this up and point cut it. And I'm going to take this off with the razor and clean it up a little bit later too. But for now, just get that really long piece out of the way. Okay. So we're going to take another section down. We're taking that hair straight out from the head, looking for the guide underneath, and then it should match up with this guide that you're taking from the other side too. You can see it as I pull it up. There's right there, they match up. There we go. Pull it straight out from the head. There we go. Okay, last section. Well, that's not true. All right. Okay, here's my last section on the back. There we go. Okay. So make sure that you check these two sides. Make sure that one's not longer. This one does feel a little bit longer. So I'm going to go back in here. And it looks like right about here it got a little bit longer. So you always check that. Make sure that you're not missing your guide and graduating or gradually getting longer, because that will make a big mistake. There you go. So, and it might just be that I wasn't pulling it straight out from the head. See, there you go. That's where the length was hiding. Just need to pull it straight out from the head. Okay, so same thing as before on the back. And you can see that it's giving it like a good shape right here. She has all these little curls. So we're going to go in like this. Okay, look down one more time. And I'm going to take off some of these curls that are flipping out really big like that and just taper them down in a little bit with scissor over comb. Any corners that are hanging off. And you want to just do this in this bottom section right here, just to tighten it up a little bit. So as this hair is drying, the curl pattern shows a little bit more too. So you can come in here and just tighten it up. It is better to cut a neckline with curly hair when it's dry, just because you can see what is going to happen with all the little turns in the curl. So we'll probably mess with that a little bit later once we start doing our detail cutting. So for now, we're going to work on this next little section in here. For this section, I'm going to take these two down and I'm going to split them again right at the ear. I'm just going to comb that forward and let the ear just kind of split it. So now I'm going to be taking sections vertical and I'm going to pull them straight out, a little bit angled outward, but mostly straight up and down. So we're just going to go ahead and cut that off. All right, and then we're going to take a little bit of that guide and start working towards this ear over here, pulling it straight up and knocking that off. And we're traveling. We're not over directing the hair. We're pulling it straight out. And work in small sections so that you can keep track of what you're doing. Okay, we're getting close to that division point where it's going to start going forward, but bring that last piece straight out, draw a straight line. Okay, let's do it on the other side. Make sure your partings are clean. There we go. And I'm traveling with it, pulling it 90 degrees from the head and just cutting it straight up. This is going to give it more of a round shape. All right. Okay, so now we're going to work on the sides. And the haircut is going to have a lot more weight up here in the front. So we're going to take sections like this. They're diagonal forward. And we're going to bring them back this way. And we're going to over direct them towards the back. So this very first section around the ear, I'm going to grab it a little bit smaller. I'm going to cut this one a little bit different because I want it to be a little bit tighter in. So I'm going to pull this one down and push it against her ear, and I'm going to point cut a little bit around her ear just to give it some pointy shape there. And then I'm going to take this next section, and this is going to be where I start pulling it, over directing it. And I'm going to pull it right into that section right behind the ear, and you will have a guide underneath there, and I'm going to point cut. So then when you bring this forward, it's going to have this angle forward like this. So we're going to bring all of that hair back to this spot and cut it here. So we're building the weight in the front of this haircut. We're going to have a pretty dramatic sideburn there, and that's what we want. We want to have a lot more weight in the forward part of the haircut. So just keep taking those sections. And you should be able to see your guide underneath. You can see it right there. Okay. I'm going to go in and detail some more of this layering around the face after. I'm going to do this other side first. Alrighty. Short, huh? Okay, so on this other side, we're going to do the same partings, same thing. And take that first little section and we're going to do some point cutting around the ear to get it a little bit tighter in there. Now we're going to take the sections diagonal forward and then over direct them back. And find the guide back here and then just point cut them out. All right, let's make sure that these are similar lengths. This one's a little bit longer right in here. I'm just going to point cut into this a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to take this top section and we're going to split it into two sections. So the first half, we're going to do the back first, and we're going to do it right on the division point where the hair would normally start going forward or going back. So the top of the head, the high point of the head. Okay. So that's about right. Clip this part away. All right, so we're going to be working on this back section first. I'm going to take a section right in the middle, about 1/2 inch thick, and this is going to come, and we're going to come straight. We're going to find this guide first of all, that's right here. And we're going to continue that line straight up off of the head. Take that 1/2 inch to 1 inch section. We're going to go pull it straight back and we're going to continue this line up from the head. So this is going to build a little bit of weight the way that we're cutting it on the top of her head. And just continue that straight up line. And if you do it this way, then you're going to have hair on the top of the head that will roll with the head, so it's not going to look flat. If you kept cutting it this way, it would look really like round to her head, and she wouldn't have height up here. And she wants height. Most people do, to give it that little bit of extra style to it. Okay, so we're pulling it straight out. We're going to keep doing that. Straight out. All right, right here, going to the other side. You can see the guide. Alrighty. Good. Okay. So we have that shape that we want. You could still wear this curly, it'd be cute.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. We're going to take sections this way. So you're going to take an inch. And you're going to go all the way across that top section where all this long hair is. And you're going to pull it back. We're over directing it now to the back section that we cut up. And then let me tell you why. Anytime you pull hair from the natural place that it grows, you're pulling it back, you're creating length in the front. So if you're going to pull the rest of these sections back here and cut them, when they fall down, you're going to have longer pieces up here in the front around the bang and the fringe, and we're going to play with those and detail those out. So from this point forward on this haircut, I'm going to be pulling it back to this section that we cut right here when we cut it straight up from the head. All right, and I'm also going to leave a little bit more length in the mohawk section of this haircut. So for this first section, I'm going to pull that whole entire strip, the 1.5 inch section, back. And then I'm going to point cut it on an angle. So I'm going to move my fingers like this, find the shortest spot, and I'm going to point cut up this way. Okay, so I'm going to do that to all of these sections. Pull it back to the same spot. So as you're doing this, your weight line will get thicker, or your guide line will get thicker and thicker, and it'll be easier to follow. Because you're just pulling more of that hair back over to the same spot. See how it's getting really nice and thick? Last little piece. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to start over. Back to that same first section that you took, and we're going to pull it the other way. So we're creating a mohawk, like a point, like a V shape on the top. So now we're going to point cut this way. I'm going to move in front of her. So yeah, this is definitely easier to cut this way. Sorry if you can't see, because you can move from your fingers and go up in that V section. You're combing it back. When you step in forward, you have to just remind yourself that you're cutting it on this angle. That's a little too big. Still take smaller sections, even if you can fit it all into the same cut. It's better for your scissors, it's better for the haircut. It'll take a little bit longer, but the end result's a little better. Okay, so last section, pulling it back here. Not very much of it will reach. That's okay. And then we're going to comb all of this forward. She has lots of hair. Okay, so now we're going to take a bang area out of this. It's very heavy up here. We have lots of fun curl going on. Look at that. It actually will be really cute to wear this curly too. Okay, and she parts her hair on her left side. So I'm going to be pulling the hair towards this side, towards her left side. I'm going to take diagonal sections. I'm going to pull the hair this way and find this guide right in here where the hair gets shorter again as soon as you see that. I'm going to cut it this way and pull all of that hair this way and cut. And that way when we pull it back over this way, it's going to give her a side bang this way. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to point cut a little bit more into it just to give it some more texture because this is her bang. And you can see the guide underneath here. All right, so now we're going to comb it back where it's supposed to go. And that is our little side sweepy bang. You can see it. It just follows along that line. All right, so I'm going to have some fun with this heavy piece left right here in the front. You can see that it's a little bit shorter than the one over here just because of how we cut everything. So we're going to take the scissors in here and just kind of texture out some pieces. And this is like, you can call this slither cutting or channel cutting. There you go. Just a little bit of detail cutting. And I'm going to do the rest of this cut dry and straight because that's how her hair is going to be worn, to do all the detail cutting in it. So we're going to dry it up and flat iron it and be back in a minute. So I've dried it and flat ironed it, and there's a lot of texture and detail work that I want to put into this now. But this is what it looks like so far. I want to do a little bit more of an angle in here. The back needs a lot of love because we need to get these curls to lay in nice and see how they dried kind of just everywhere. We want to cut that in to where when she styles it in the morning it just kind of lays together. So we're going to need to put a lot of texture back there. And like I said, a little bit more detail work around the ears and then around the face. And throughout it, we're going to do some point cutting and show you some techniques there. So to start, we're just going to go through the top. I'm actually going to take this little section right here, right where the head splits right here. And I'm just going to take it and deep point cut into it. I pull the hair up like this and then just kind of roll my knuckle in. And that fans it out a little bit more so that I can not be taking out such big chunks of hair. And I'm doing this right here just so that she can have a little bit of play if she wants to do spikes or texture right where it kind of parts before it comes forward. All right, so that's good. And then we're going to take sections straight up from the head and just deep point cut into them. It's almost like a whole nother haircut we're going to do here, but we're keeping in all of the shape. This is all just texture work. So there's a lot of texture work to do. You can pull this up and point cut into it. And it's really, really heavy in here because we left all of that weight. So I'm going to take sections this way now. which is good. That's what we want. We want to have a lot of room to play in here. I'm going to take these sections out this way, and I'm just going to put the shears in there and just slice out chunks. And this is going to make it lay in a little bit more, but we still have the length. We're not taking off all of the length. We're just making it a little bit less fluffy, less bulky. All that good stuff is going to be fixed there. So you can see there's a pretty hard line. I'm going to go in here with the scissors and the comb and just point cut to soften this out. And with curls, you see how there's this curl right here that's just kind of sticking out? You can go in here and just kind of softly take it out, just to give it that nice shape. I'm going to pull this angle. It goes like this and it comes down. I'm going to pull that back over to where we cut it and point cut into it, just to make sure that we don't cut off the shape. And I'm holding the comb so that it's parallel to the line that I've already cut, so that I can just soften it up a little bit. So now in this back, I'm going to have you look down. You can see all of these curly patterns here. I'm going to take my razor around her neckline, and I'm just going to softly, make sure the guard's on there. I'm just going to softly shape out kind of a straight line, but it'll be soft because it's the razor. And this is just going to clean up any necklines. Make sure you check for any moles or anything that's sticking out from the neck, because you won't want to use this on. It could cut those off. If they have a mole, you'll need to use your clippers or your scissors. And I'm using my mirror. I can see the shape of her hair right in here. And I can see if there's anything sticking out as I rotate her a little bit and just keep looking into the mirror. So make sure you're using your mirror how you're supposed to be using it. You don't have to move around as much as if you have that angle. And I am going to use the razor a little bit here just to piece out some of this. There we go. We don't want any flat spots on this for her. And she was asking me how to style this. You could style this a lot of different ways. You could do it kind of spiky like this. Or you could pull this top up since you have a mohawk. But you would have to blow dry that differently. But she has tons of texture. She could blow dry all of this up and have kind of like a mohawk going on. Well, we're messing it up now. But I blew dry it forward, so we're going to do it forward today. But it has so much texture in it that you can play a lot with this haircut. What a transformation. Holy cow. You look different. It's cute though.
I like it a lot.
Really cute. Fun haircut. Alright you guys, I hope you guys like it. Here's a little spin. You can see this haircut. We'll do a couple pictures of it, and let me know if you guys have any more requests. And I hope you guys liked it. We'll see you next time. Bye.